Few experiences in my life compare to our time backpacking around Mount Rainier on the Wonderland Trail in late July. Each year, 250 hikers embark on this journey, and Sarah and I were lucky enough to be two of them. Last summer, after weeks of planning, second-guessing how much toilet paper and crumbled Pop-Tarts to pack, and strategizing on how to handle a brown bear attack, we were ready to go. Around this time, I had picked up film photography as a hobby, so I decided to bring along the Canon T70. The images captured on that camera are special to me for the memories they bring back of one of the most beautiful experiences in my life.
And go.
Day 1, Longmire to Nickel Creek. After second guessing where the trail started, we were on our way. After getting lost in the first 10 minutes, we were on our way again. 5 miles before reaching Nickel Creek, our camp for the night, we stopped by a peaceful river crossing to filter water, take a short nappy poo, and reflect on the journey ahead. Day 2, Nickel Creek to Summerland. We set off around 10 a.m. and began our climb up the mountain. I found it pretty astonishing just how quickly the weather could change, with the clouds forming around the mountaintop in a matter of minutes. This day of hiking would take us from an elevation of around 3,500 feet up to 7,000 feet, the highest point of the Wonderland Trail at Panhandle Gap. Along the way, we'd hike through Indian Bar Camp, where we stopped for lunch and met a couple hikers from Alabama who'd been waiting to complete this trail for 7 years. We continued our climb up through the rocky meadows, through the snowy Panhandle Gap, and finally to the oasis that was Summerland. From our site at Summerland, we had a view of Little Tahoma and Mount Rainier. Evening photo walks at camp became a nightly ritual which I came to thoroughly enjoy. Day 3, Summerland to Glacier Basin. I woke up at around 5:45 in the morning to photograph the sunrise hitting the east side of Mount Rainier in Little Tahoma. The wildflowers amongst the green meadows, trees, and mountain as the backdrop made for some really fun compositions using the 50mm lens. Later on, I spotted a pair of mountain goats in the distance traversing across the hill. I really tested the limits of the iPhone digital zoom on this one. After this morning adventure, we were ready to head to Glacier Basin, a site that is technically off the Wonderland Trail, which made our journey a bit longer. It's also where several hikers that summit the mountain start from. We reached camp early and decided to try a hike up to Mount Ruth. We spent a while trying to safely cross a rushing river, and you can see my little river crossing tutorial for our future selves to remember the exact path we took across the sketchy waters.
So we got level 3, it's about even with that, about 100 yards down from that bad boy.
Then we climbed up to the ridge with a spectacular view of Emmons Glacier, which has a surface area of 4.3 square miles. For those of you keeping track, that is the glacier with the largest surface area in the contiguous United States.
Wow.
And at around 8,000 feet, this would be the highest elevation we'd reach during our time at Rainier. Path the next morning as we continue our detour off the Wonderland Trail by heading up to Second Burrows. We were greeted back at camp by a fellow mountaineer that wanted to hang out. Unfortunately, we had to get to bed ahead of another long day of hiking. Day 4. Glacier Basin to Mystic Camp. We climbed up to Second Burrows, which was one of our favorite sections of our entire hike for the up-close view of the mountain. For anyone doing the Wonderland Trail or hiking from Sunrise, I would highly recommend this. Then we jogged our way back down to Sunrise to meet my parents on time for our 9 a.m. rendezvous. They hiked with us for a few miles before they sent us back on our way. We made our way up Skyscraper Pass, where we rested and enjoyed another inspiring view of the mountain. Upon reaching our camp, we took a swim at Mystic Lake. Here, the reflections in the water at sunset made for another peaceful evening photo walk. The ranger warned us of a bear that had been roaming the campsite the night before. This was great news to hear right before bedtime. Day 5. Mystic Camp to Eagle's Roost via the Spray Park detour. Our hike took us across a fun suspension bridge and through the beautiful Spray Park, where there was a nice mixture of volcanic rock and grassy meadows, but no bears. My favorite plants were the white bulbous flowers known as bear grass. They seemed like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. After 7 hours of hiking, we made it to our camp where we checked out a big waterfall and went for yet another evening walk. Day 6. A change in plans. Our day started with the much anticipated food cache pickup, which was a bucket of camp food we'd mailed to ourselves 3 weeks prior. Our next stop was about 12 miles away at Golden Lakes. At least that was the original plan. We were now confronted with the reality of Mount Rainier's unpredictable weather. With 2 nights and 35 miles left to go, we called an audible and decided to complete the trail in one less day. A park ranger at the food cache canceled our next night and rebooked us at our last campsite, Clapatchie Park, which was 19 miles away. At this point, it was 11:30 in the morning, so it was time to quicken our pace and make a bold fashion statement. This intense day of hiking ended with a steep 3-mile incline up some thick brush and a few fallen trees, and we barely made it before dark, just as the rain started to pick up. This was the only film photo I took that day, and I think it tells the story quite well. Our final day on the trail started at 2 in the morning, as Sarah woke me up to inform me that our tent was sitting in about 3 inches of standing water. After that little fiasco, we woke up to the most beautiful campsite on Mount Rainier. Day 7, Calipatchee Park to home. After 6 nights out in the woods and soaking up the view from our last campsite, it was time to make the last push home. Despite not having a shower or sparkling water for 7 whole days, I knew I'd miss this beautiful trail and the simplicity of life when your only concern is survival and hiking from point A to point B. On this last day, we were grateful to have a little bit of sunshine as we made our way back to Longmire, where our journey began. One very unique part of the trail was near South Puyallup River Camp, where there was this unique basalt rock formation, which kind of reminded me of Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. Also took us over Emerald Ridge, and finally back down to our car where our Wonderland experience came to an end. Ooh. I'm not sure what happened with this frame here, but this is proof that we made it. Backpacking around Mount Rainier with my best friend in the world is a memory that I will carry with me forever. To experience it in its entirety was a blessing and something that leaves me so grateful for the experiences that the National Park System and the hardworking rangers provide to hikers like us. I will never look at this mountain from my home state of Washington the same.